Aaron Hale ran along the jagged canyon edges of the outpost, his small boots kicking up dust with each step. The wind howled through the metal ruins, carrying with it the smell of oil and burnt circuits from abandoned ships. He had been exploring again like he always did when the adults were busy. His curiosity often got him into trouble, but today something different called him deeper into the shadows. A strange sound caught his ear, a low, trembling hum that almost sounded like crying. Aaron froze. He had never heard anything like it in the outpost. It came from a hollow docking canyon where old starships were stacked like forgotten toys. Slowly he moved closer, peeking over a rusted hull. That's when he saw the dragon. Veilrix was enormous, far bigger than anything Aaron had ever imagined. His scales shimmered in dull silver, cracked and worn from years of travel. Smoke curled from his nostrils and his eyes were dim, almost lifeless. He lay crumpled against a jagged metal wall, his wings folded awkwardly. Aaron's small chest tightened. The dragon looked in pain, but no one was there to help him. "Don't cry," Aaron whispered, stepping closer. "My elder brother can fix it." The dragon lifted his head slightly, curiosity flickering in his tired eyes. "Humans?" Veilrix rumbled, his voice like rolling thunder in a distant storm. "You think humans can fix a dragon?" Aaron shook his head slowly, but his voice stayed firm. "Not me, my brother. He fixes everything. Broken ships, broken machines, he can even fix robots. He can fix you too." Veilrix studied the boy, unsure whether to laugh or ignore him. He had lived for centuries and faced countless dangers, yet here was a human child speaking with certainty. Something about the small human's calmness made him pause. Pain throbbed in his chest, but curiosity, and maybe a spark of hope, kept him still. Aaron knelt beside Veilrix, holding out his small hand. "Please, just wait. My brother will know what to do." Veilrix hesitated. He had seen humans before and most ran away screaming or tried to capture him. Yet this one stayed, his eyes steady and unafraid. The dragon let out a low hiss of resignation, almost like a sigh. He closed his eyes and lowered his head again, trusting the boy more than he expected. Aaron stayed there through the shifting shadows, whispering softly to keep the dragon calm. He told stories of his adventures in the outpost, of tiny robots that rolled away and of how his brother could make anything move again. Veilrix listened, faintly, each word easing a little of the fear that had wrapped his chest for decades. By evening, the canyon glowed with the orange light of a distant sun. Aaron ran back to the hangar where his brother, Tavian Hale, worked. Tavian was tall, with a calm presence that made machines and people obey him alike. Aaron tugged at his sleeve, breathless. "There's a dragon, brother," he said. "It's hurt, really hurt. You can fix it, I know you can." Tavian's brow furrowed. "A dragon? Here?" He glanced toward the canyon. "Are you sure, Aaron?" Aaron nodded, his small hand pointing back toward the jagged cliffs. "Yes. It's really big and it's in pain. Please, you have to help." Tavian paused a moment, the weight of responsibility settling on him. Dragons were not like machines. They were living, thinking creatures, and many considered them untouchable. Yet he saw the determination in his younger brother's eyes, the belief that no creature was beyond care. "Show me where it is," Tavian said finally. Aaron led the way, running over twisted metal beams and abandoned cargo crates. The canyon opened like a dark mouth, and the dragon lay still, the fading light reflecting off his cracked scales. Veilrix watched silently as Tavian approached, noting the human's steady hands and calm steps. "You are hurt," Tavian said softly, kneeling beside Veilrix and examining his chest. "Tell me what pains you?" Veilrix tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. He could not explain his systems failing, not in human terms. Instead, he hissed softly, and the sound was more like a sigh of relief than a warning. Aaron squeezed the dragon's claw gently. "See? He's not afraid. He can fix you." Veilrix studied the human for a long moment. No other human had ever stayed near him when he was weak. They had always fled or tried to trap him. But Tavian did not flinch. His calm, careful hands began examining the dragon's wings, his chest, and the faint pulses of energy still flowing through his body. 4 hours, Aaron stayed by Veilrix's side, whispering encouragement. The dragon did not fully understand the human's words, but he felt the care, the insistence that he was worth saving. It was a feeling he had not experienced in centuries. Night fell. The stars blinked overhead, distant and cold, yet the canyon felt warmer somehow. Veilrix's breathing was still heavy, but the pain eased slightly in the presence of the humans. He did not yet believe that he could be fully repaired, but a seed of hope had been planted. Aaron yawned, leaning against the dragon's scales. He's really smart, the boy murmured. You'll be okay. I promise. Veilrix closed his eyes, allowing the boy's words to settle into his mind. The galaxy had never seen a human fix a dragon, and he had always doubted they could. But now, faced with a small boy's trust and an elder brother's skill, Veilrix felt something new, something he had not felt in ages. For the first time, the dragon allowed himself to hope that maybe, just maybe, humans could save him. And in that quiet canyon, under the flickering starlight, a fragile bond began to form between an ancient dragon and two small humans who believed in the impossible. Tavian Hale led Aaron and Veilrix back to the human hangar, a place filled with strange machines, glowing panels, and tools that hissed and clicked. The hangar smelled of oil and burnt metal, but Tavian felt at home here. He had repaired everything from starship engines to tiny robots, but nothing like a dragon. Veilrix hesitated at the entrance, his massive claws clanking against the metal floor. He had never been inside a human space and every instinct told him to leave. Aaron ran ahead, calling softly, "It's okay, Veilrix. He'll know what to do." Veilrix's golden eyes studied Tavian. The elder human moved calmly, speaking in low, clear tones, touching the dragon gently but firmly. Tavian did not panic, did not raise his voice, and did not show fear. He carried only his tools, yet his confidence made Veilrix pause. The dragon had seen kings and scientists, warriors and healers, but none had ever approached him this way. "Tell me what hurts," Tavian said softly, placing his hands near the dragon's chest. Veilrix tried to answer, but his roar caught in his throat. Pain made words impossible. Instead, he let Tavian examine him, and the human's calm presence was almost like a healing balm. Aaron stayed close, holding the dragon's claw. "It's okay," he whispered. "He's really smart. He knows what to do." Tavian crouched and began inspecting Veilrix's bioengine core. He observed the flickering energy lines under the dragon's scales, noting weak pulses, damaged circuits, and worn fibers. To Tavian, this was not just a creature, it was a living machine. Every dragon had systems he could read, even if they were unlike human technology. He smiled faintly. This was a puzzle and he loved puzzles. "Your systems are failing," Tavian said, tracing a glowing line along the dragon's chest. "It is not age, it is a fault. Something no one else has noticed." Veilrix tilted his head, curiosity rising. Humans had never understood him this way. Usually they feared his size or tried to kill him. This human, however, was different. He did not show fear. He did not shrink. He simply looked, touched, and understood. Aaron whispered, "See? I told you. Humans can fix anything." Tavian gathered materials from the hangar. Wires, metal plates, glowing energy cells, and small devices that could stabilize energy flows. He worked quietly, explaining his actions softly to Veilrix, as if talking could make the dragon feel more comfortable. "You will feel strange," Tavian said. "Some parts may hurt, but you will be okay. Trust me." Veilrix gritted his teeth and let Tavian begin. The human's hands moved quickly and precisely, connecting wires, patching circuits, and reinforcing weak points. Tavian had never worked on a living dragon before, but his mind understood systems, and Veilrix's body was full of systems waiting to be repaired. Hours passed and the dragon's breathing grew steadier. Tavian never rushed, never panicked. Each adjustment made a small improvement, each touch a little relief. Veilrix had expected fear, pain, and failure, but instead he felt care. A human was saving him, not for reward or glory but simply because it was possible. Aaron stayed by the dragon's side the entire time. He spoke softly, reminding Veilrix to be brave, that he was strong, and that humans never gave up on their friends. The boy's presence made the dragon relax slightly, a strange feeling he had not known he needed. Tavian paused to check the energy flow, noticing that Veilrix's heart pulses were becoming more regular. "See," he said. "You are responding. You will live. You only need patience." Veilrix opened his eyes, studying Tavian's careful hands and the bright determination in Aaron's small face. No other species had ever shown him hope like this. Humans were small and fragile, yet they carried something dragons rarely saw: persistence and kindness. As night fell outside, the hangar glowed with soft lights. Tavian continued his work, moving to the dragon's wings. He examined the muscles and energy channels, reinforcing and repairing where necessary. Veilrix flexed carefully, amazed at how the human could make things better with nothing but clever tools and steady hands. "This is impossible," Veilrix murmured. "No one has ever." Aaron interrupted, grinning, "But my brother can do anything." The dragon almost laughed. He had lived centuries thinking no human could matter to a creature like him. Now a child and his brother had proven him wrong. His systems were being repaired, not by magic, not by force, but by intelligence and care. By dawn, Tavian stepped back, wiping his hands on his jacket. Veilrix slowly moved his massive body, testing the repairs. Each motion felt smoother. Each breath came easier. The dragon flexed his wings tentatively, then lifted his head. He looked at Tavian and Aaron with a new respect. "You saved me," Veilrix said quietly. Tavian shook his head. "I did not save you. You allowed me to help you. That is the first step. You chose trust." Aaron smiled. "I knew you could do it, brother." Veilrix lowered his head slightly, letting the boy touch him. For the first time in his long life, he felt a bond with humans that was not built on fear but on belief. He realized that humans might be small, but their courage and skill were something dragons could never ignore. Outside, the stars blinked over the hangar. Inside, an ancient dragon and two humans, one small, one grown, sat together in quiet companionship. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. And Veilrix, the dragon who had once been dying in silence, began to feel hope that stretched wider than the stars themselves. Tavian Hale examined Veilrix carefully, his hands moving with quiet precision over the dragon's enormous body. He had already stabilized the dragon's core, but now the real challenge began. Veilrix's systems were old, complicated, and unlike anything Tavian had ever repaired. Every movement, every pulse of energy was unpredictable. Yet Tavian did not hesitate. Humans had a way of seeing solutions where others only saw problems, and he believed every problem could be solved with enough thought and care. Aaron crouched beside Veilrix's claw, whispering softly, "You'll be fine. My brother can fix anything. Trust him, please." Veilrix lifted his massive head slightly, studying the small boy. The dragon had faced storms, space battles, and hunger that lasted decades, but the soft words of a child felt more comforting than anything else in his long life. His wings twitched nervously. Tavian noticed. "You're nervous?" Tavian said calmly. "It's okay. You will feel strange, but you must let me continue. It will help you heal." Veilrix exhaled a soft rumble and allowed Tavian to begin. The elder human worked methodically, connecting energy conduits, replacing worn fibers, and adjusting circuits that had long been forgotten. Tavian had to improvise constantly, using human tools in ways that no dragon engineer would ever imagine. Pieces of scrap metal, glowing energy cells, and fine wires were transformed into stabilizing components for the dragon's systems. Hours passed as Tavian worked, the hangar filled with quiet humming and the faint spark of energy flowing through Veilrix's body. Aaron stayed close, encouraging the dragon and reminding him that he was not alone. Veilrix found comfort in the boy's presence. Every whisper, every gentle touch, made him trust humans a little more. "You see," Tavian said, adjusting a delicate wire near the dragon's chest. "Systems are responding. You are stronger than you think." Veilrix flexed his claws slowly. He could feel the difference already. Movements that had been heavy and painful were becoming easier. His heart pulses, which had been weak and uneven, now held a steady rhythm. The dragon tilted his head, amazed at what this small human could accomplish. "This should be impossible," Veilrix murmured. "No one has ever fixed what I carry inside me. No one." Tavian smiled faintly. "Impossible is just a word. We make it possible with effort, patience, and care. You are being repaired not because it is easy, but because it is needed." Aaron grinned. "See? I told you humans never give up." Veilrix let out a small, amused rumble. He could feel the human ingenuity working against the odds, turning broken parts into something functional and strong. For centuries, dragons had relied on strength and fear to survive, but this human taught him a different lesson. Intelligence, patience, and care could do what raw power never could. Tavian moved to the dragon's wings next. They were damaged from travel and age, energy channels cracked in several places. Tavian studied them carefully, taking measurements and designing small supports that could stabilize the wings without causing further pain. He worked quickly but gently, never forcing Veilrix to move before he was ready. Aaron whispered softly, "It's okay. You won't feel alone. We're here." Veilrix flexed his wings cautiously, amazed at how the human's work allowed him to move without pain. He had expected a strange, awkward sensation, maybe even more discomfort, but instead he felt relief. Small adjustments made a big difference. By midnight, the dragon's movements were almost normal. Tavian's repairs were holding, and Veilrix could stand without effort. He flexed his massive limbs, testing the strength that had been weakening for decades. Each motion was smoother, each breath steadier. The dragon realized that humans were not fragile creatures as he had assumed. They were clever, determined, and capable of remarkable things. "This is more than I expected," Veilrix said quietly. "You are remarkable." Tavian shook his head. "No. You are remarkable. You survived when others would have given up. You allowed help. That is what makes this possible." Aaron hugged Veilrix's claw, smiling. "See? I told you humans can fix the impossible." Veilrix lowered his head slowly, letting the boy touch him. The dragon had never felt such trust and care from any creature before. It was strange, comforting, and a little frightening. He realized that humans, despite their small size, carried something dragons did not: steadfast courage and the ability to believe in the impossible. Tavian checked the last of the energy conduits, making sure everything flowed correctly. He adjusted a few final circuits, and the dragon shivered slightly as the energy moved through him smoothly for the first time in decades. Veilrix could feel life returning to him. Pain had not disappeared completely, but hope now replaced fear. "You are ready to try moving on your own," Tavian said softly, stepping back. Veilrix rose slowly, flexing his massive wings. The motion was effortless compared to before. He lifted his head, feeling the strength returning to his body. For the first time in a long time, the dragon felt alive, not just surviving. Aaron cheered softly. "You see? I told you my brother could fix it." Veilrix let out a deep, rumbling sound that was almost like laughter. He had survived countless battles, storms, and hunger, yet the courage and skill of a human had given him more than survival. It had given him hope. Outside, the stars blinked in quiet silence. Inside the hangar, a dragon and two humans sat together, tired but triumphant. The dragon had learned that size and age were not the only measures of strength. Intelligence, care, and persistence were equally powerful. And as Veilrix looked at Tavian and Aaron, he realized something new. The galaxy might have doubted humans, but he would never doubt them again. They could fix what others thought impossible. For the first time in centuries, the dragon felt truly alive, and a bond had been forged that no one could break. Word spread faster than Tavian or Aaron expected. Rumors of a human repairing a dragon traveled across the outpost, through starports, and into space stations orbiting distant planets. Many came to watch, curious and skeptical. Traders, explorers, and even a few scientists from other species arrived, expecting to see failure or disaster. Some whispered that humans were foolish to touch what was untouchable, and others wondered if the dragon would attack once it realized it was being meddled with. Veilrix lay in the hangar, his scales gleaming softly under the artificial lights. He watched the humans move around him, calm and careful, while outsiders murmured behind their hands. His chest, now stabilized, rose and fell steadily, and energy flowed evenly through his wings and tail. Still he was wary. He had seen species act with fear, greed, or arrogance, and it often ended badly. Aaron stayed at his side, holding his claw, whispering encouragement. "It's okay, Veilrix. They're just watching. My brother knows what he's doing." Tavian nodded without looking up. "They can watch all they want. Observation does not change the work. Focus matters more than attention." A crowd gathered at the edge of the hangar, their eyes wide. Some had expected chaos, a dragon's rage, or failure that would make humans look small and weak. Instead, they saw careful hands, precise movements, and systems responding to skill and understanding. Tavian worked silently, repairing minor adjustments and monitoring energy flows, showing no fear, only confidence. One of the observers, a tall alien engineer named Rhino, whispered to a companion, "I thought humans were fragile. But they are remarkable." Veilrix tilted his head, listening. He had never heard his own kind speak of humans with respect. Usually dragons were the ones admired, feared, or obeyed. Now he could sense something different. Humans were strong in ways dragons rarely understood. Tavian paused, then spoke softly, "Life is valuable no matter the form. Care and knowledge can make the impossible real." Veilrix felt the truth in the words. Pain that had haunted him for decades was easing. The repairs were working better than he expected. His wings moved freely, his tail felt balanced, and his chest pulsed steadily. The human's careful hands had done what dragons had never imagined possible: restored life without dominance, without power, just skill and patience. Aaron whispered again, "See? I told you humans could do it. You're going to be fine." Outside the hangar, some observers began to murmur among themselves. Traders and explorers realized that humans were not just small creatures to be ignored or feared. They could do what others could not, repair what others thought broken beyond hope. The word spread quickly. The galaxy had always underestimated humans, but now some species began to reconsider. Veilrix lifted his head, testing the repairs. He flexed his massive limbs carefully and the crowd gasped. Movements that should have been stiff or awkward were fluid. He flapped his wings gently, lifting a little into the air before landing with soft thuds. The observers stared in disbelief. Humans, Veilrix murmured, they can fix what others discard. Tavian smiled faintly. It is not about size or strength. It is about care, knowledge, and persistence. That is what matters. One of the skeptical scientists, a being with 6 eyes and translucent skin, stepped forward. I never thought a human could do this. I assumed dragons were beyond repair. You have shown me that judgment was wrong. Veilrix watched them quietly. He had faced countless beings who underestimated him or underestimated others. Yet here humans had done what no one else dared to attempt. He realized that small, unassuming creatures could hold value and power far beyond appearances. Aaron beamed at the dragon. You see? Humans never give up. And they care about their friends. The dragon tilted his head, listening to the boy. For the first time, Veilrix felt something he had not felt in centuries. Trust in humans that went beyond necessity or fear. They had proven themselves not with threats or dominance, but with effort, intelligence, and belief. As the day turned to night, the hangar glowed warmly with the lights reflecting off Veilrix's scales. Tavian made final checks, adjusting minor circuits and energy flows. Veilrix tested each movement, each motion now smooth and easy. He flexed his wings, stretched his neck, and let out a deep, controlled rumble. The sound was powerful, but there was no threat in it, only relief, confidence, and new life. The crowd remained silent, astonished. Many had expected a spectacle of failure or disaster. Instead, they witnessed care and ingenuity triumph. Some began to clap, slowly at first, then with more confidence. They understood something new. Humans were not to be underestimated. Veilrix lowered his head, touching the hangar floor gently. He felt gratitude, respect, and awe for the humans who had saved him. He realized that these small beings could change the galaxy not with force, but with understanding and skill. Aaron hugged Veilrix's claw. See? I told you. My brother could fix the impossible. The dragon exhaled a long, steady breath. He had survived countless dangers, yet the care of humans had given him more than life. It had given him trust and friendship. He had learned that size, age, or fear were not the only measures of strength. Intelligence, patience, and kindness could be just as powerful. As the observers left, whispers of the event spread to distant outposts and starships. Humans were no longer small, fragile creatures in the eyes of those who watched. They were remarkable allies capable of feats that no one else expected. Veilrix flexed his wings one last time and looked at Tavian and Aaron. You have changed my understanding. I underestimated humans. Never again. Tavian nodded. And you have shown that even the impossible can be repaired if one tries. Aaron smiled, proud of both his brother and the dragon. See? I told you humans are amazing. For the first time, Veilrix felt hope that stretched beyond the hangar, beyond the canyon, and across the galaxy. Humans had proven themselves in a way no other species had. And Veilrix knew from that moment on that he would never forget them. The stars blinked above, quiet and distant, while inside the hangar an ancient dragon and 2 humans sat together, their bond stronger than fear, stronger than expectation, and stronger than anything Veilrix had ever known. Veilrix stretched his wings fully for the first time since arriving at the human hangar. The energy circuits in his body hummed smoothly, and his chest pulses were steady. He moved carefully, testing each limb, each wing, each muscle that Tavian had repaired. The dragon felt alive again, stronger than he had imagined he could be after so many years of struggle. Yet, as he looked at Tavian and Aaron, he realized this strength was not his alone. It came from humans who refused to give up. Aaron grinned, bouncing lightly on the balls of his feet. See? I told you we could help. You're going to be okay now. Veilrix lowered his massive head, letting the boy's small hands rest on his scales. He had faced storms that could shatter mountains, but never had a small human's trust and care felt so powerful. Humans, you are remarkable, he rumbled softly. I have always underestimated your kind. Tavian smiled faintly, his hands resting on the dragon's wing. You allowed us to help. That is what made this possible. Trust is the first step to change. Veilrix flexed his wings carefully, then flapped them once. The movement was smooth and controlled. He lifted slightly from the hangar floor, feeling his body respond perfectly to every motion. He looked down at the humans with new respect. I owe you my life, he said. And I will remember this always. Aaron hugged the dragon's claw tightly. You don't have to repay us. Just, don't forget humans can be friends too. The dragon rumbled softly, a sound that felt almost like laughter. I will not forget. Your care has changed me. Across the stars, your courage and skill will be remembered. Outside, the first light of morning illuminated the hangar. Tavian and Aaron watched as Veilrix tested his strength further, stretching, flexing, and moving with grace. The dragon's massive tail swept carefully, almost playfully, and he flexed his claws with precision. Observers who had stayed overnight watched in awe. Humans had repaired a dragon, and the impossible had become real. Veilrix stepped closer to the humans. I will leave now, he said. The galaxy awaits and I must travel. But the story of what humans can do will go with me. I will tell others that small beings can accomplish what giants fear to attempt. Aaron's eyes widened. You'll tell others? About us. Veilrix nodded, a slow, steady movement. Yes. The courage, intelligence, and kindness you showed will not be forgotten. Many will hear this tale. Many will reconsider their ideas of humans. Tavian placed a hand on Veilrix's wing. Go then. Fly strong, but remember you are not alone. We will be here, and so will others who believe in care and persistence. Veilrix lifted off the hangar floor, wings stretching against the morning sky. Aaron cheered and Tavian waved. The dragon rose higher and higher, testing his wings, feeling the energy and repairs hold perfectly. His roar echoed softly across the canyon, not a sound of threat, but of triumph and gratitude. Veilrix soared above the outpost, glancing down one last time at the humans who had changed his life. He had faced countless dangers, but nothing had mattered as much as trust and friendship. Small beings he realized could be priceless. He would never forget that lesson. As the dragon disappeared into the sky, Aaron looked up, smiling proudly. See? I told you humans could fix the impossible. Tavian laughed quietly, placing a hand on his brother's shoulder. You believed and that mattered. Humans can do remarkable things when they refuse to give up. Veilrix traveled across planets and stars, meeting others who doubted humans. He recounted the story of a small boy and his elder brother who had repaired an ancient dragon when all others had failed. He spoke of intelligence, care, and persistence. The story spread slowly at first, then rapidly. Humans began to be seen not only as clever but as allies capable of incredible feats. Aaron and Tavian returned to their hangar, quietly repairing machines and helping travelers as they always had. Yet they noticed small changes in the galaxy. Traders treated humans with more respect. Explorers sought their counsel. Scientists and engineers began to reach out, curious to see what humans could accomplish. Veilrix's promise had changed more than just one life. It had begun to change how the galaxy saw humanity. A small boy's belief, combined with an elder brother's skill, had proven that size, fear, and power were not the only measures of value. Care, intelligence, and persistence mattered just as much. Months later, a report arrived at the Hale hangar. A group of explorers on a distant planet spoke of a massive dragon soaring overhead, speaking of humans with awe. Aaron and Tavian smiled at each other. The story had traveled farther than they had imagined. Veilrix had not only survived, he had changed the galaxy's perception of humanity. And in the quiet moments as they repaired ships and helped travelers, Aaron whispered to his brother, "We really did it. We helped him, and everyone else will know humans matter too." Tavian nodded, smiling. Yes, Aaron. One small act can ripple across the stars. Humans have proven they are not just survivors, they are changers of worlds. Far above, Veilrix glided between planets, carrying hope, trust, and a story of humans who dared to believe the impossible could be fixed. The dragon's promise was clear. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again, and the bond formed in that hangar would last forever. Aaron looked up at the sky each night, imagining Veilrix soaring above, and he whispered, "We will always be friends." Veilrix's roar echoed in the distance, answering silently, "Yes, they would always be friends." And so, the galaxy remembered, humans could fix the impossible not through force or fear but through courage, intelligence, and care. The promise of one dragon, saved by two humans, changed everything.